Welcome back to Dive Twang. I'm Dave. Almost got carried away there. Well, this is a fun one. Now, this pathways thing that we've been talking about is catching on. And if you're just joining us for the first time, this will probably still make sense. I think it will. I try to make all the videos able to kind of stand alone. But if you're feeling this and you're into it, go back and watch the last week or so's worth, and we did a similar thing as what I'm about to show you on this, using just a one chord dominant seventh chord. It was a G7, and that's in the title of it, and there's a backing track that goes with that. Now, not to confuse it, because this song's in A, this progression. Just kind of threw it down here. It's not a real composition. And I'm starting on the 4 chord. So I'm going down to the 1, A. So D, A. Then the 6 chord, F sharp minor. Then E. Okay, that's the 5 chord in A. And then the second time around, slightly different. I think I'm going go from the D right to the 6. Then just hold this out till it goes back around. Okay, and I'll put a slide up with the chords on it. And also slides of these pathways that I'm about to show you. Now, if you were doing that dominant seventh one, and you're like, okay, we did some paths from root to root, third to third, fifth to fifth, in that kind of jam band building the spirit of that style. And so, if you were thinking like, man, I wonder if I could do this with different scales and theory and or modes or whatever? Well, the short answer and the good news is yes. So here's another example where I'm really going to spell it out. I got a slide for each one of these. They're all the same sequence of notes. Okay, the same river of notes. A major. Okay, the do re mi in A. Like that last video, dealing with pathways, I call them. We're going to divide that into 4. Well, we're going to make 4 paths within that sequence, within that river, from root to root. Okay, let me put that one up here real quick, just so if this is your first time, so glad that you're here, and I don't want to keep referring to some other video, but you'll see what's going on here. Okay, now if we kind of go up here and just look at this A chord, make it anywhere, but I'll make it right here for now. And then we've got a root, third, and fifth. That's our triad for A major, right? So we want to do some paths built off each one of those chord tones. So our root, I'm moving it down to here because that's where I made the diagram for you. So our third is that C sharp, right? So if we play the same notes that are in that sequence of A, that continuum of A major, but we start on C sharp, the third. It's that one, okay? And there's the diagram for that. Then the fifth. Okay, now the point here is not to try to memorize. Forget about the photographic memory stuff, right? Just, you're going to have to go back and kind of put this this thing together yourself, right? I got a real simple backing track for it. It's just that drum beat and that rhythm guitar. So there's not a lot of bass and, stuff to distract you there, right? You can really just stretch out your playing a little bit more with this type of backing track. But does that make sense? We're going root to root, third to third, fifth to fifth. There's a diagram for each one of those. And then seventh, now it's the natural seventh. Okay? It's G sharp. Now I made that drag. Let me put that up here. Okay. That's the 13th fret. Okay, so that one might seem a little weird to you, to kind of memorize that one. It's right next door to starting over with that. So, most important question you can ever ask about a teacher or a class or anything in the world really is why? What good is it going to do? Well, it's whatever it turns out being for you. For me, it's just it by kind of using that system, I end up, number one, landing on more chord tones, which sounds good. And also, it gives me a way to kind of climb and move around that's sort of systemized, but once you put the embellishments and the other kinds of pentatonic licks and other things that work for you along with that stuff in these different positions, it loses that feeling of rote repetition, and it doesn't sound like an exercise anymore, right? It really sounds musical. And it isn't, kind of a formula for the jam band thing, but I feel like it captures some aspect of that style if you really like that, or an extended improvisation in a rock song or jam, right? And when you get your other players and your bass and drums and your keys and another guitar and everybody kind of participating in the same way, you get a real synergy that's, I think, central to the jam band concept, right? This information can work for you in any style, but that's kind of how I envision it, and kind of how I, come up with it. I'm trying to sort of make maps for that particular feeling and that building and that spiraling upward. Okay, and put that backing track on and let that thing play, and just really invest in, take your time and go back, and I'll put the diagrams in the description as well. So playing wise, now I'm going to do another one on this that's going to feature more stylization, okay? Because I don't like to make the videos too long. So the next couple of days, look for that one. But I'll just show you, a couple of ideas here. A major pentatonic works really well with this progression. And so one of the first things we're going to do once you get comfortable with these different pathways and positions, of course, is integrate some of that. And I did some of that in the intro, so I wanted to at least, touch base with that's what's going on. But for the most part, I'm sticking to the pathways and looking for places to bend and just trying to make good musical choices within those guardrails. You got to kind of figure out where you are with this loop. hang out in one, in each one of those and see if you can find nice places to land on each chord. That one that goes from the seventh, that pathway that's built around the seventh, it's gonna feel weird at first, but that's a really good one. And you're tempted to resolve all the time, to that A or to that D note or some real strong root or fifth or something, and that's okay. But challenge yourself too to sit on those chord tones that sound a little out, because that's good stuff. And I'm using a pretty clean sound here, but you get a real rock sound and get your band going. You really lean into those that third and that seventh and stuff. You can really hang on to those. I remember having to really challenge myself to do that at first because I just I played a lot of Southern rock and stuff like that when I was young, and I just wanted to, and that's great. But so when I started hearing more of the jam band stuff, I was like, man, there's a lot more notes going on in there than just the root and the those kinds of positions, right? Well, that's kind of the idea. I'm going to play just a little bit more and then look out in the next few days for a follow up to this where we really kind of break it down into some licks and some more creative ideas for you. But do the work on this. This is just the push ups and the sit ups, right? Get those positions down. Okay? See you next time.